Okay. I'm Randy Duncan. I'm a communication professor at Henderson State University, and I did a dissertation on comics back in 1990 and have been teaching about them and writing about them ever since. Well, sometimes I get aggravated in that, what seems to be kind of like the tail wagging the dog sort of thing, that we get things in comics that are changed to match, the expectations in film. But other times I'm frustrated. I mean, it's not, affecting my income, but it seems like that Marvel, for instance, could do a better job of putting out product that matches people's expectations based on the movies. Because we'll have a movie that may get people interested in the characters, and then they go to the comics, and what's being done with those characters at the time, looks nothing like what's in the movie. Or you have an X-Men movie, and then you start an X-Men cartoon where the adult characters that they've known are now teenagers, and so
X-Men Evolution.
Yeah. So I'm thinking this must be difficult to build a market. And I guess I want to kind of see, or I hope to see when it first started with the movies, build more of a comic book readership.
Right.
But I don't know that that's happened.
Right.
And I think that may be because it's just such a disconnect between the two oftentimes. But I have loved the movies.
Right.
The Marvel ones. Can't say much about ones based on DC characters, but. They started kind of around the same time, and they learned from each other, the creators of them. Eisner swore he used to go see Citizen Kane repeatedly, and that some of his visual sense in doing the Spirit came from that. And then directors like Friedkin claims that particular Eisner Spirit comics influenced the way he shot scenes in some movies, and so I think there was always that relationship. And the content of movies and television would then guide the content of comics oftentimes. So as after the war, there's not as much need for superheroes, and they are fading out. What's on the movie screens and on these new gadgets, televisions that people are buying? Westerns.
Right.
And so we see lots of westerns. And most of the westerns, Western comics had those photo covers.
Right.
So they're photos from the TV shows to let this is
like Hopalong Cassidy and the Lone Ranger, that kind of
stuff. Yeah. Pretty. It seems like every television show, Gunsmoke, Branded, Cheyenne, had a comic for a while, and there was a comic called Movie Comics, pretty early on that was adapting movies. So. I don't know that, because I don't know that the movies are really helping the comics that much. So I don't know if ones that were in that comics fans didn't care about, they'd have cared about more just because there was a movie of them. There was a Blue Beetle, I think a radio show and a serial, and so Blue Beetle was a kind of a character that seemed like it was going to be a transmedia hit,
right?
But never was that much of a comics hit. Was always kind of second tier and would kind of come and go in different iterations. And
the original Policeman version, right, before Ted Kord.
Right. Yeah. Garrett.
Dan Garrett.
Yeah. The name was spelled two different ways. Two different. So
Right.
It's like there were two different versions of that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a big fan of the Ted Kord one though, because what was Ditko artwork, and I was about the right age when I encountered it to just really love that stuff. I think so. It makes it very difficult for new readers, because if you say, for example, you see a movie and you go, hey, I want to go buy that comic. Well, the issue that that's showing that character or characters is now part of some big
right.
Event. You're confused,
right.
And you don't know about this secret invasion thing or this civil war or this A versus X or what. Right. And the thing is, it just seems to be it's all events now. I mean,
Yeah.
we kind of just move from one to the other. So that's one reason I'm drawn to comics like Daredevil, because he seems to get a special dispensation to not have to take part in the big events. And even if he shows up in them, the character does in the Daredevil comic's just going on about its business. You know,
Right.
It's not a tie-in. Now I may be in the minority in that about wanting that, but I think if there were more comics that weren't affected by all those events and those tie-ins, it would be better for the industry. I would have said Devil Dinosaur, but they're now doing a new Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. But if you go with the original Moon Boy, I don't know, anything where you left Jack Kirby on his own. The 2001 Space Odyssey comic he did is just so trippy. I mean,
The one that introduced Machine Man.
Yeah, the one that introduced Machine Man, yes. And just beautiful artwork. I don't know what's going on most of the time. And then when his version of Black Panther. Well, I don't know what the ultimate will be, but I think we're taking a step right now, at least the Marvel cinematic universe and television universe are interlocked.
Right.
It'd be nice if they were interlocked with the comic universe as well, but can't have everything. But the catchphrase for a couple of years now has been transmedia storytelling.
Right.
The idea that you're telling this one big story and you're telling it across platforms. And Marvel is doing that pretty well right now. It's and sometimes there are things they thought were minor things like Agent Carter, become the huge hits and people care about more than the other story.